As a kid, all a nigga wanna have was a Burberry scarf and $3 in my pocket. Instead I got beat with a switch, but I don't give a fuck, but it's on my body. Scars all up on me, but I run around from everybody. Life lesson learned, I better learn from this bitch, nobody. She pushed me around, she didn't give no motherfucks about it. She broke my heart 3 times, but I ain't getting...
Clemson is going to be traveling to South Bend to take on Notre Dame this weekend. This game is slated to take place on NBC with a 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff. Now, for Clemson, we already know that the biggest storyline heading into this game is that Trevor Lawrence is not going to be playing in this game due to having the virus. And DJ Uiagalelei, the freshman quarterback for Clemson, is going to be getting his second straight start. Now, for Notre Dame, we already know that there are going to be a lot of preconceived notions about this Notre Dame team. Okay, they are currently ranked 4th in the nation, according to the new AP Top 25 poll that just dropped a couple of hours ago. And everybody is not sold on Notre Dame. And a lot of people are judging Notre Dame by what they've done in the past. As we already know, Notre Dame in big primetime games, they don't really do all that well. Okay? But I'm not making this preview and prediction video based on the Notre Dame teams from the past. I'm not going back to 2012 when they got stomped by Alabama. I'm not going by what happened last time they played Clemson. I'm going by what I've seen out of this Notre Dame team so far this season. I don't care about anything that happened in the past. Like, that's my problem with some people. Like, some people assume that a team is just going to be bad based on what they did in the past instead of focusing on what the team has actually done this season. I'm not focused on what Notre Dame has did in the past against good teams. I'm focused on what Notre Dame is going to do this game. Okay, so I don't care about what happened in 2012. That was what, a couple of years ago? I was in 4th grade when they played in that 2012 national championship game. That's years ago. So can we, at least for this game, leave the past in the past and focus on the Notre Dame team that we've actually seen so far this 2020 college football season? Because the Notre Dame team that I see looks like one of the best teams in college football. And believe it or not, Notre Dame has the 8th most talented roster in all of college football according to the 24/7 Team Talent Composite rankings. And they're 8th, and Clemson is 4th. So Notre Dame does have the talent. And a big boost for Notre Dame going into this game is the fact that Trevor Lawrence is not going to be playing. So now that you're not going to have the superstar quarterback for Clemson playing, you have a pretty good chance of winning this game. As a matter of fact, Clemson is only favored to win this game currently at 6:15 p.m. Eastern Time, November the 1st, to win this game by 5.5 points. And when you look at Notre Dame, this, in my opinion, is the best defense Notre Dame has had since 2012. And in all honesty, this defense may be better than that defense that they had in 2012. They're fast, they're physical, they're really good up front. And you look at Clemson that's walking into this thing with a freshman quarterback. Now, we know DJ Uiagalelei played really well against Boston College, especially in the second half of that game. In the first half, the Clemson offense kind of got off to a slow start. Travis Etienne coughed the ball up near the goal line. So Boston College got up big. But Clemson, like I was telling everybody, because I'm in the group chat with all of my homeboys from school, and they was like, JT, Clemson's about to lose to Boston College. What do you think? And I was like, just give it a second. Give Clemson a little bit more time. Let DJ Uiagalelei get a little bit more comfortable in the game. And I bet you that Clemson comes back. What happens in the second half? Clemson comes back. So DJ Uiagalelei, he's going on the road to South Bend to take on a Notre Dame team that's really good defensively. Now, last week he was really good against Boston College, which Boston College is a really solid team this year. Now, are they one of the best teams in college football? No, they're not, but they have a pretty solid program. And DJ Uiagalelei, I want to see what Notre Dame is going to do to make him struggle in this game. So if you're Notre Dame defensively, you have to give him some looks that he's never seen. You have to make him uncomfortable in this game. This is a freshman quarterback going on the road in a big-time game, a big-time prime-time game that everybody's going to be watching. How is he going to play in this game? And how's his Notre Dame defense going to make him uncomfortable? Because that's what the biggest thing is for this Notre Dame defense. You have to make DJ Uiagalelei uncomfortable. Okay, because if you let DJ Uiagalelei get comfortable and he gets into a rhythm, this Clemson offense doesn't really miss a beat. This dude has a rocket for an arm. He also has some mobility as well. He's big. He's like a Cam Newton 3.0 or 4.0, whatever you want to call it. And we already know the weapons that Clemson has at their disposal. They have wide receiver Amari Rodgers. They have Travis Etienne, the best halfback in college football right now. So Clemson has a bunch of weapons. So if you're Notre Dame, if you're going to win this game, you're going to have to force DJ Ukulele to cough the ball up. He's at least going to have at least 2-3 turnovers in this game. You have to be able to get pressure on. You have to make him uncomfortable. You have to be able to bait him into mistakes. Now, the biggest matchup in this game is going to be Clemson's defensive line versus Notre Dame's offensive line. Now, Notre Dame has the best offensive line in college football this year. As a matter of fact, they're pretty much going to be nominated for best offensive line in college football by the end of the year. And Notre Dame, 4 out of the 5 starting linemen heading into this game are all seniors or grad seniors. They only have one starter on this offensive line that is not a senior. He is a junior. So Notre Dame has a lot of experience out of the offensive line position. And I'm looking at a Clemson defensive line that is pretty solid, but this isn't the defensive line for Clemson that we're accustomed to seeing. And I want to see if Notre Dame is going to be able to beat down Clemson's offensive line. Because Notre Dame likes to run the football. And Notre Dame, they're so good running the football because they have 3 running backs who they can all rotate in and out of the game. So everybody's coming in fresh. So if Notre Dame can beat Clemson up front, especially with that defensive line, with the talent that they have on the offensive line, this could be a game that Notre Dame has a really good chance of winning. If you are a Notre Dame fan, you feel really good about your chances if Notre Dame is able to actually beat down Clemson's defensive line, because they'll be able to control the time possession and they'll be able to run the football at will, which will keep Clemson's offense off the field, which will also help out your defense because it gives your defense more time to rest on the sideline. Now, can Clemson stop the short passing game of Notre Dame and force Notre Dame to throw the football down the field? Now, I've watched 3 Notre Dame games so far. I watched the Louisville game, I watched the Pitt game, and I rewatched the Georgia Tech game early this morning. And the biggest thing that I noticed about this Notre Dame offense is that this is a ball control offense. This is not an offense that's built to score in like a minute or 2 minutes. This is an offense that if they do have a big play, it's because of a wide receiver making something happen with the ball in his hands or a running back popping one loose for like a big 60, 40-yard gain. So this is pretty much a ball control offense. This is not an offense that's going to be throwing the ball all willy-nilly down the field like Clemson. This is an offense that takes what the defense gives them. They pick up 3-4 yards through the air, and they don't really force anything. And a big reason for that is because they don't really have a lot of talent at the wide receiver position. Notre Dame lost 3 of their best wide receivers last year. So this is pretty much a new wide receiving core that Notre Dame is working with. And I really have concerns about Notre Dame in this game because of that, because these wide receivers haven't really been all that great. And a large part of their pass game is actually their tight ends. Now, a lot of you guys may not know this, but Notre Dame has 5 tight ends that they all use. Now, 3 of those tight ends are used in the passing game and have 2 other tight ends that they like to use in the run game as well when they choose to come out in 2 tight end formations. So, if you're Clemson, you have to be able to make sure that you're able to keep these tight ends in check because these tight ends account for a big part of that Notre Dame offense. You also have to be able to make sure that you're able to force Notre Dame to actually try to throw the football downfield. Don't let Notre Dame just dink and dunk their way down the field because that's an easy way to lose the game. Now, for Clemson obviously, even without Trevor Lawrence, they still have the edge when it comes to the time perspective because Clemson's cornerbacks are really good. Even though that they're not a lot of big name cornerbacks that a lot of you guys don't really know about, their cornerbacks are really solid in my opinion. And you're looking at the Notre Dame wide receiving core that I don't really think is all that good. Like I mentioned earlier, like Notre Dame lost their top 3 wide receivers last season. So the big part of their passing game is going to be the dink and dunk game. So these cornerbacks, Brent Venables, I'm pretty sure he's going to force these cornerbacks to play physical, play aggressive, and force Notre Dame to have to win this game by throwing the football down the field. And the biggest part of Notre Dame winning this game is going to have to be Ian Book. Ian Book, the quarterback for Notre Dame, is going to have to ball out. He's going to have the best game that he's ever had during his college football career. Because the thing holding back Notre Dame is that they don't have that superstar quarterback like a Deshaun Watson or Trevor Lawrence or like a Joe Burrow per se last year at LSU. So Ian Book is going to have to come out and play absolutely incredible for Notre Dame to get this victory because at the end of the day, he's going to have to make some big plays if Notre Dame is hoping to win this game, because I don't really think that Ian Book is going to be able to dink and dump his way down the field like he's been able to do the last couple of weeks. And for Clemson, you have to make sure that you're able to come up with a game plan to make sure that you're able to get DJ Ukulele in a rhythm early, because if you're Clemson, I don't really know how they will respond to being down 21-10 or 21-7 to Notre Dame on the road. Being down 21-7 or 21-10 against Boston College is a different atmosphere. But when you're down by a couple of touchdowns on the road against a really good program for a freshman quarterback, that's a different animal. Okay, so if you're Clemson, if you're Dabo Swinney, you don't want to be in that position. So I think for Clemson, they're going to try to run the ball with Travis Etienne. They're going to try to get Travis Etienne involved in this game. And Travis Etienne is actually the best player on this offense, believe it or not. Some people say it's Trevor Lawrence. Some people say it's Travis Etienne. But as of right now, without Trevor Lawrence playing in this game, it is Travis Etienne. So if you know the Dame, you need to take away Travis Etienne from this game, because you take away Travis Etienne from this game, then you're going to have to force DJ Ukulele to find other players to throw the football to. And for Clemson, I think that this is going to be a game that is really going to make Clemson better, regardless if they win or lose. And the reason why is because you can't get better if you're just blowing out everybody. Clemson has to get better. And the only way that they're going to get better is if they're in a tightly contested game. Okay, like, you're not going to get better by just blowing teams out. Like, the only way you get better is by pushing yourself to the limit. So if you're a Clemson fan, you're hoping that this game is a blowout. But in all honesty, if this game is really close, that's really how you're going to see just how good of a football team Clemson actually is. Okay, like, you know, you can blow teams out and things like that, but the best teams in college football are the teams that are able to win the close games. And Clemson was able to do that last week against Boston College. We're going to be able to see if they're going to be able to do this against Notre Dame, because this Notre Dame team, I believe that a lot of people are really sleeping on Notre Dame. A lot of people are saying that Notre Dame is once again a fluke team. They don't deserve to be ranked in the top 4, the top 5 of college football. They haven't played anybody and things like that. Listen, 24/7 has Notre Dame ranked as the 8th most talented team in college football according to the talent that they have on their roster. So Notre Dame does have some talent. Notre Dame has one of the best offensive lines, if not the best offensive line in college football. So Notre Dame is more than capable of being able to win this game. They're only a 5.5 point underdog. If Trevor Lawrence was playing this game, it probably would have been double digits. It probably would have been Notre Dame walking into this thing as like a 12, maybe 15, 16 point underdog heading into this game. So that 5.5 right there shows you that Vegas thinks that Notre Dame may be better than what a lot of you guys who are Clemson fans are thinking. Now, is this game going to be close at all? Because we thought the Miami Hurricanes game was going to be close, and Clemson just blew that thing out the water. So for Notre Dame, man, I'm going to have to take Clemson to get the victory here. The reason why I'm taking Clemson to get the win here is because I don't really think that Notre Dame's offense and the second half is going to really be able to get anything going. Like, I think Notre Dame can come out in this game and they start guns blazing, having a good first half. But in the second half, I think Brent Venables is going to be able to make some adjustments. And if Notre Dame wants to win this game, they have to be able to do it by throwing the football down the field. You have to take some shots down the field. You can't just beat Clemson just by dinking and dumping your way down the field. Like, you have to be able to have those big plays in the passing game. And I just simply don't think that Notre Dame is going to be able to do that because of these wide receivers. They're kind of inexperienced, not really a lot of talent there as of right now that we really know about. And for Notre Dame, I just don't really think that Ian Book is going to be able to make the big plays when it matters the most to get the victory. So even though Travis Etienne and Amari Rodgers are there to help out this young quarterback in DJ Ukulele is going to have to be able to make up and be able to get some big plays in this game to help Clemson get over the hump and win this game. And I think that he's going to be able to do so. He was able to do it against Boston College. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, Notre Dame's way better than Boston College, which they are. But that just shows you that if he's able to do that, he's been battle tested. He's been in a close game. Although this is going to be a different atmosphere going on the road in South Bend, I have a lot of confidence in him being able to get the job done. And I'm not really confident in Notre Dame offense. Like, I know they had a really good game against Pittsburgh, who a lot of people are saying has the best defense in the ACC. I don't really know how I feel about that. They do have one of the best defenses in college football, but I wouldn't go as far to say they have the best defense in the ACC. I still think that's Clemson by a landslide. So at the end of the day, I just don't think that Notre Dame's going to have enough big plays to be able to win this game. And a lot of you Notre Dame fans are probably going to get upset with that. But listen, I don't think you're going to be able to beat Clemson by throwing for less than 200 yards in this game. Notre Dame has to be able to push the ball downfield. These wide receivers have to be able to create separation against these Clemson cornerbacks. So I don't really think Notre Dame's going to be able to do that. So give me Clemson to win this game. 31-24 is my final score prediction in this game. I'm taking Clemson with the victory.